Well, hello everybody and welcome back to Elegant ASMR with me, Nicolas Fairford. And for those of you who don't know who I have been creating YouTube content for about 4 years now on my other channel, which is called Nicolas Fairford, and I create twice weekly videos about elegant living, cooking, travel, and just sharing my lifestyle with my audience. And a lot of people would comment on my voice and how they found it relaxing. So I decided to create this channel, Elegant ASMR with Nicolas Fairford, so that for those of you who enjoy ASMR, and I will say that I personally enjoy it as well, so that there would be a place for you to hear my voice and for you to enjoy some ASMR from me. Now, I have no idea really what I'm doing with ASMR. I'm just speaking in my normal voice, a little bit softer, a little bit more relaxed, and I think that is what people want from me, but I'm not an expert ASMRist. I'm just doing what feels right to me. So, for my birthday a few weeks ago, a very kind friend of mine sent me a huge package of books. And those of you who watch my channel know that I love coffee table books. So this was a real treat for my birthday. So there's 4 of them. This is the English Country House, and these are all in their packaging still. Haven't looked through them yet. Country Life, 125 years of countryside living in Great Britain from the archives of Country Life. The Country House, Past, Present, Future, Great Houses of the British Isles. And At Home in the Cotswolds, Secrets of English Country House Style. So I am going to go through one of these books, open it with you, and hopefully this will deliver some nice relaxing moments for you to enjoy. So let's get started. So the book that I've selected is this one, At Home in the Cotswolds, Secrets of English Country House Style by Katie Campbell. Now, the Cotswolds just happens to be one of my very favourite places, not only in the UK, but also in the world. So that is why I decided to choose this one, as I know that I'm going to really enjoy looking through this. So let's get started. I'm going to start by opening up the book. There's a little tear here, so I can just expand on that with my letter opener, and can remove this clear wrap. There's just something so wonderfully soothing about looking through a new book and smelling the lovely scent of the pages. Smells wonderful. So let's go through this now. So here is the contents page. The foreword is by the Duchess of Marlborough, and the Duke and Duchess of Marlborough live at Blenheim Palace, one of the most famous country houses in the United Kingdom, and it is the birthplace of Winston Churchill. And then we have the Cotswolds, an introduction, and then it just gives a list of the houses here, and a lovely picture of this incredible interior. Very, very English, with this upholstered sofa, a little dog laying on this needlepoint rug, lots of beautiful antiques, books, flowers and plants. Very, very English country house style. So this is the foreword by the Duchess of Marlborough, and here is a picture of Blenheim Palace, their residence. I'm not going to read through all of this because I want this book to be able to be purchased by other people and to be enjoyed. So this is kind of just a glimpse. So here we have a photograph of the Duchess of Marlborough with two of her dogs, Midge and Mouse, at Blenheim, and she's sitting at a George III Carlton House writing desk from 1800. And this room is known as the Duchess's sitting room. How marvellous. So this is a photograph of a very famous location in the Cotswolds, which is called Arlington Row, and this is in a village called Byberry. And it's become very, very famous with tourists because it is so quintessentially English. And this row of houses features on the inside of every British passport. It's an illustration. And Arlington Row in Byberry is, yes, a very famous location in the Cotswolds. And this is a row of 17th century weavers' cottages created from a monastic wool store built in the 1830s. Oh, and here it does say, if you open a British passport and look inside the front cover, you will find a picture of a group of picturesque cottages. And that is what I was just telling you about. The Cotswolds is famous for its incredibly beautiful landscape. It is rolling hills, beautiful forests, trees, and there are lots of beautiful sheep. And then famously it has honey-coloured stone, which most of the cottages and houses are built from. So it just has this beautiful fairy tale light and beauty about it. Another very famous thing about the Cotswolds are its dry stone walls, which you can see here, and these are very clever structures, and the stones are piled on top of each other, and they don't need to be cemented or stuck down. The weight just keeps them standing, which I think is pretty incredible. And this picture here is very typical of a Cotswold landscape. The rolling hills, the Cotswold stone, the beautiful trees, a church in the background. Yes, very typical of the Cotswolds, these pictures. Okay, so this is part one, the houses, and we have a selection here of houses, a very grand Georgian country house, a more humble cottage. In fact, this was owned by a lady who I follow on Instagram called B. Osborne, and everybody mistakes this house as the house from the film The Holiday, but actually it's not, because the house from that film was actually purposely built. It's actually just a set. Here we have another beautiful house with this gorgeous circular dome on top, and then another typical cottage here. So this is Fifield Manor, and it has a Georgian facade, and this is a very typical Georgian rectory style house that you would get in the Cotswolds. Wow, beautiful kitchen here, very typical Cotswolds with these beams, the lintels above the door, the Cotswold stone. This is probably an original fireplace here where they've built an Aga. It says, hanging above the Aga is Joanna's collection of vintage leaf patterned plates. And I really do love leaf style china and dinnerware. I find it very elegant. Beautiful fireplace, decorated handsomely with these orchids. Beautiful painting, very comfortable style. And that is what I admire the most about English country style, is that it's so comfortable and cosy. And this study is painted in a red named as Very Well Red by Paint and Paper Library. Quite a beautiful red, even though red isn't my favourite. I can appreciate the beauty of it in this setting. Wow, look at this bathroom with that beautiful roll tub. Can you imagine laying in that tub, just being surrounded by a beautiful bubble bath and the peace of the English countryside? Quite blissful. A swimming pool, and it has been hidden. It has a hidden changing room cut into the centre of the yew hedge, which also hides the tennis court from view. Very practical, as well as beautiful. And yes, this is the thatched cottage, which was owned by B. Osborne. She's since sold it now. And it says, first things first, this is not the cottage from The Holiday, in case you are unfamiliar with the film. The Holiday is a cult romantic comedy about two love-lorn women on either side of the Atlantic doing a house swap over Christmas. In it, Cameron Diaz swaps her LA house for Kate Winslet's rustic cottage in the English countryside. A cottage that looks remarkably like one owned by designer B. Osborne. Very cute. This really is a very typical English Cotswold cottage. Thatched roof, the golden honey-coloured stone, symmetry, and a beautiful cottage garden. Very, very pretty. And B. Osborne, I follow her on Instagram. She's an interior designer, and what she's managed to do is create a very charming but modern version of Cotswold style. Very clean and elegant, but still classic. Beautiful. Lots of muted tones, lots of earthy textures, lots of rattan, candlelight. Beautiful. Wow, just look at this incredible interior. Okay, so next we have the Mason's house. The Cotswolds is built on a bedrock of fossil-rich Jurassic Oolitic limestone. This famous stone, from which the houses in this book are built, weathers to what is often described as a golden or honeyed hue. But as J.B. Priestley wrote in his great travelogue English Journey, the truth is that it has no colour that can be described. Even when the sun is obscured and the light is cold, these walls are still faintly warm and luminous, as if they knew the trick of keeping the lost sunlight of centuries glimmering about them. And isn't that just the most wonderful description? I haven't read through this book, as you know, but I did mention that the Cotswold stone is golden honey-coloured, and it always looks very warm. And it really does. In cold, harsh winter light, it still exudes this warmth, which is what makes the Cotswolds so charming. And you can see modern stone here that has been quarried to create this wall in the garden here, and it still looks beautiful and timeless. It's a real classic. I love this garden. Again, this room showing the layers of comfort, rugs, squashy armchairs, cushions, curtains to keep in the warmth and to soften any noises, club fender by the fireplace so that you can sit and keep warm, lamplight, lots of books, beautiful. Beautiful rooms. Wow, look at this flower arrangement here. Very pretty, and this table is incredibly beautiful. And what I like about Cotswold style is that it is very unassuming. So just look at this fireplace, for example. It has been left to, well, not been left, it has probably been designed this way so that the wood looks old and natural, but it's all about creating this air of unassuming elegance so that things look rustic and so that it's very relaxing. So this is the old rectory, and I think this is probably one of my very favourite Cotswolds houses. About 3 years ago I was staying with my friend Georgian, who has a beautiful cottage in the Cotswolds, and we were walking and suddenly this very rectory came into view and I was just stopped in my tracks. It is incredibly beautiful and just so typical of an English rectory. If the Cotswolds is for many Britons their ideal landscape, then an old rectory is their ideal house. No type of building in England is more evocative, celebrated or lusted over, and I doubt there is a more resonant term in the lexicon of English architecture. Oh, I have to say, it's very true. For me, certainly, an old rectory would be my dream home. The dining room is decorated with de Gournay wallpaper here that you can see. This is hand painted. Another thing that is on my lust list of things that I would like to own one day. I really do love de Gournay wall covering. The hovel. So, one of the charming things about Cotswold houses is that they are, more often than not, roofed in the same mellow stone as their walls. Muffetes is a typical example, and its unusual name denotes a particular size of Cotswold stone tile, examples of which you can see cloaking the cottage's roof alongside equally wonderfully named wivets, tents and cussons. The owner of Muffetes affectionately refers to the cottage as a hovel, because that effectively is what it once was, an extremely humble dwelling for a farm worker, originally with just one room downstairs and one above. But the irony is obvious as soon as you step inside this exquisitely decorated book and flower-filled house. It is a haven of culture and beauty that shows off its owner's passion for collecting art and furniture. And this home is actually owned by James Mackey, who I follow on Instagram, and he is an interior designer. He was the former senior director of Sotheby's Auction House, and he lives here with his partner, who you may know, Arthur Parkinson. He is a celebrated gardener and writer. They live here together. It's a beautiful house. This page just stopped me in my tracks. I don't know about you, but I love copper pans. Another thing for my lust list, actually. Beautiful copper pans. I love them. So the next cottage that we have here is the Farm Workers' Cottage. And this is owned by Alexandra Tolstoy. And you may also follow her on Instagram. She is quite a well-known lady who she was an Anglo-Russian countess, and she had a television series quite a while ago about travel, and now she has just begun a new series about farming life in the Cotswolds. So this is her home. It's a very rustic house, an arbor here, which keeps the place lovely and warm. I love these baskets hanging from the ceiling, and this collection of this sweeping brush and this beater to clean. Very cute. And this home really is comfy and cosy with all of these lovely things, just making it chic clutter, I would say. Jugs and spoons and everything for the kitchen. The Arts and Crafts House, clinging to the side of a hill above the villages of Broadway, Buckland and Laverton, is the ancient stone-built hamlet of Snowshill. So, actually, those three villages happen to be some of my favourites in the Cotswolds. Broadway is one of the most beautiful towns in the Cotswolds. It's got all the honey-coloured stone and lots of beautiful independent stores. And then Snowshill is quite famous for Snowshill Manor, which is a National Trust property. So this is a beautiful arts and crafts house. Arts and crafts is a lovely style. It's more, some people find it more interesting than Georgian, because Georgian is very symmetrical. Arts and crafts is more experimental, as in the name. Beautiful bucolic landscape here. And it says the southern elevation of the house, which overlooks the lake below. And you can see a riot of colour here from all of the plants, grasses, and I just like the way that all the roofs are different levels and there's chimney stacks. It's very, very charming and cottage-esque. Wow, look at this series of rooms. The drawing room is painted in Edward Bulmer lilac pink, which turns into a warm pink in the evening light. The sofa is covered in jute, which Robin concedes is a bit impractical, but she loves the natural texture. Furnishings include a pair of 18th century French bergères in yellow linen, antique studded leather stools from Spain, and an 18th century French ebonized chest of drawers. Wow, very beautiful furniture and layout in here. Look at these painted wooden floors. I have to say that wooden floors are my very favourite finishes for floors, especially when they're painted. Bunny Mellon got me into those, and if I ever own my own home one day, which I no doubtedly will, I would like to have painted floors somewhere. Here we have a lunch set up with a quintessential Cotswold view from the kitchen terrace. Can you imagine sitting here on a lovely summer day and having a lunch, just surrounded by this picturesque beauty? How lovely would that be? Oh, the dovecote. So I do know this house. So this is owned by an interior designer called Emma Burns, and she is a design director at the very famous English interior designer Colfax and Fowler. And I believe that this was her parents' house, which she inherited, and we'll find out more because it will tell you here. Oh, and it says, there is something familiar about the ancient market town of Bampton, particularly its parish church, old rectory and handsome public library. It's because these buildings and others were key locations for the filming of the hit television series Downton Abbey. And I didn't know that the dovecote was located in Bampton because I'd been to Bampton a few times. As a huge fan of Downton Abbey, I love visiting Bampton. It is the most charming village, and it's so lovely to see the church, the old rectory, which Mrs. Crawley, Matthew's mother, lives in. She lives there in Downton Abbey, and I loved her rectory. Emma's parents bought the house when Emma was 15. They wanted a wreck to do up, something to bring a vision to, and at the time the crumbling dovecote contained loose boxes for horses, a cart in the hall, and chickens upstairs. They slowly transformed it into a livable home with a tiny budget. How lovely. What a lovely, lovely home. You can see here a barn with rattan chairs overlooking the garden, very Cotswold-esque. And just look at this kitchen. I love this about English interiors, the way that every room is made supremely comfortable. So even though it's a kitchen, it's not really like a kitchen. It's got an armchair here, a lamp, a dresser, a portrait. It's just designed to look like a very comfortable room rather than a clinical one, and I really appreciate that aesthetic. The same can be said for English bathrooms. They often put wallpaper on the walls and hang pictures and have a chair next to the bath, and maybe even sometimes put carpet there, and I find it makes a very comfortable ambience. And just look at this room. It's a library filled with lovely, lovely books. So you could sit here for hours on end and just get absorbed in a lovely book and just relax. How lovely would that be? Heavenly. Wow. The Georgian farmhouse. So late in the evening on the 13th of August 1705, near the banks of the river Danube in southern Bavaria, an exhausted soldier by the name of John Churchill, 1st Duke of Marlborough, pulled up his horse to scribble a quick note to his wife. I have no time to say more, but to beg you will give my duty to the Queen, and let her know her army has had a glorious victory. And so it had. Marlborough's tactical brilliance at what came to be known as the Battle of Blenheim saw more than 27,000 French soldiers killed, captured or wounded, and proved to be a turning point in the War of the Spanish Succession. It would also prove to have a profound impact on a tract of land many hundreds of miles away in Oxfordshire, on the fringes of the Cotswolds, for when the Duke finally returned home, the Queen Anne, bestowed upon him a large estate and a vast sum of money with which to build a suitable house in recognition of and gratitude for his victory. And that house turned out to be Blenheim Palace. So there is a little bit of history of that. And that brings us to this gorgeous Georgian farmhouse that is Lower Whitehill Farm near Tackley. And it was built as part of a model farm on what originally was part of the Blenheim estate. And I will have to say that if someone offered me the chance to have either a little Georgian farmhouse like this or a palace, I would 100% choose the farmhouse. Palaces are not for me, but this is my dream. How lovely. And just look at that in the landscape. Beautiful Cotswold honeystone here, with trees all around to make the ultimate secluded paradise, and then just fields of green. How fabulous. And here we have a very beautiful English room, again just filled with comfort and elegance and unassuming beauty. Just love all these details. Beautiful, beautiful English country house. I've seen this room many, many times, and I didn't realise that it was the old rectory here. I love this room for its comfort and fireplace and the colour of the walls. So the drawing room is painted Farum Ball, French grey. The curtain fabric is from Christopher Moore, and the carpet is from Robert Stevenson. And as I was saying earlier, in English bathrooms they make them into rooms of comfort, so you can sit here on the chair, perhaps chat to your beloved while they're taking a bath. There's a rug and it feels like a sitting room. Wow, the village house in Maisiehampton. Maisiehampton is such a beautiful, beautiful village. And actually in the Cotswolds, you're spoilt for choice. The villages are just heavenly, one after the other. You can drive through them and you will just keep coming upon beautiful, beautiful villages filled with the most handsome rectories, cottages, the most beautiful places. And this is the Georgian facade of Maisiehampton Manor. The hodgepodge. The hodgepodge. I just love how all of these lovely homes have equally charming names. It's a very English thing to do that. The hodgepodge. Oh, it's actually called Farmhill Park. And it's the 17th century this was built. How fabulous. Just look at this black and white tiled floor, and wow, I've just noticed something so nostalgic for me. So this fireplace has a carving here that says East West Home is Best. And in my old home in North Berwick, where I lived, which I've talked about, and I'll share the link to the video of that house, I had a fireplace in my bathroom, in the bedroom, and it had this exact carving, East West Home is Best, which I just love. It's so true. Okay, so the final house that we're going to look at is this one, the stately home. And this is called Bruin Abbey, and it was built in 1720, and this is a very beautiful example of Georgian elegance. We have a central portico here in the middle, and it's flanked by two wings, and you can see that we have perfect symmetry. So in the middle we have the door, and either side 3 windows, and then on the top here 3, and then the window there with the circular window in the middle. Beautiful Georgian symmetry. What is a stately home? The expression was first coined by the early 19th century poet Felicia Dorothea Hemans. The stately homes of England, how beautiful they stand, amidst their tall ancestral trees, o'er all the pleasant land. The poem was later parodied by Noel Coward. The stately homes of England, how beautiful they stand, to prove the upper classes have still the upper hand, though the fact that they have to be rebuilt and frequently mortgaged to the hilt is inclined to take the guilt off the gingerbread. That is so funny. What an incredible picture here of Bruin Abbey. Beautiful. Just looking down onto this pond with the fountain. Pretty impressive. So pretty. And you can see that in this type of house the ceilings are higher, it's more grand, it's designed to leave a lasting impression. The scale is a lot bigger and a lot more grand. This is a very classic Georgian colour here on the walls. Double aspect sitting room, which is referred to as the music room, and that is originally what it was. The green paint was done by specialist decorator Johnny Brunson. Wow, that's an incredible staircase. That is just marvellous. The design of the blue and white frieze. The top of the staircase mimics the Wedgwood panels of the best guest bedroom and features Mercury holding a propeller as a nod to Lord Glendenbrook's career in aviation. How fabulous. And then in the kitchen, granite tops of the two islands. Ochre floral prints are on the walls. The black arbor came with the house but was repositioned between the windows on the west wall. A bedroom with a beautiful four-poster bed here. This very gorgeous fabric, sumptuous and comfortable. Very, very pretty house. I am not going to show any more of this book, just in case anybody would like to buy it and enjoy it. I don't want to spoil it for everybody, but I think it gives a good overview of the Cotswolds and houses in the Cotswolds. So if you would like to check this out for yourselves, it is called At Home in the Cotswolds, Secrets of English Country House Style by Katie Campbell, with photographs by Mark Nicholson and foreword by the Duchess of Marlborough. And I will link this in the description box for you, just in case you would like to buy it for yourselves. Well everybody, thank you so much for joining me in this ASMR video. I really hope that you enjoyed this one. I personally love looking through a beautiful book, just putting my hands on the pages and turning them, hearing the sounds and smelling the beautiful paper, and then looking at all of the lovely pictures and reading the interesting words. It's a very beautiful experience, and I hope that you've enjoyed doing this with me today. If you would like to check out my other YouTube channel, Nicolas Fairford, I have linked it in the description box. I post there twice a week. And if you're already following me from there, then thank you for joining me here on Elegant ASMR. Until next time, do take care, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Bye-bye.